Kleavor was able to dominate a huge online tournament and has been picking up recently thanks to the big threat of Charizard Y. Let's see how well Kleavor can perform. This is my recreation of Kyle Livinghouse's Kleavor offense team that he used to win the Victory Road online tournament. Let's break it down. So first Pokemon we have is going to be the Kleavor, and Kleavor is definitely an interesting rock type where it has okay enough speed. With maximum speed investment, you're able to still outspeed a lot of the Mosklemoras and a lot of the bulky Charizards out there. But Stone Axe is what makes this mon really special because it's a rock type move that does some pretty decent damage with sharpness. It's not the strongest without sharpness, but that sharpness boost increasing the power of some of Kleavor's attacks by 1.5 does mean it does significant damage, but more importantly, it sets up the Stealth Rocks. And Stealth Rocks aren't the most amazing thing in VGC. However, when there is a Charizard that takes 50% from rocks whenever it switches in, it's actually pretty significant because it allows you to break through the Charizard a lot easier. So Stone Axe is pretty crazy. Close combat is also really strong fighting coverage for against King Gambit. Feint is really solid, of course, to play with an offensive team because this Kleavor really enables offensive setup because you have the Stealth Rocks that you set up with Stone Axe, which is great against Focus Sash mons that could be lurking in the back, and then you have Feint that can get through Protect. Like just being able to break through Protect and dish out a lot of damage for your ally, even under Tailwind turns, while they can normally stall out Tailwind by protecting multiple times. Yeah, with Feint, that's not as much of an option anymore, so it's really strong there. And then Protect to keep itself around. The EV spread for this recreation, pretty simple, just going to go with max speed and max attack. I think you want max speed because a lot of the Charizards are generally a bit slower there, and you would also be pretty good into the Mosklemoras, which is solid. You can't outspeed Timid Glamor, unfortunately. However, just being pretty solidly fast and just threatening the Stone Axe is really crucial. Next Pokemon we have is going to be the Mega Frostlass, and Mega Frostlass is really cool into quite a bit of the common Pokemon, such as the Garchomp, especially the dragons that you are able to do a ton of damage with the Blizzard, able to change the weather, which is great against the weather teams, especially the rain teams in general. So that can be really solid. Ice and Ghost is really great offensive coverage and is pretty powerful in this format, especially with its speed of base 120. So we have the Cursed Body, which is going to be the ability of choice because sometimes you don't Mega Ball Frostlass, you get a chance to disable the move, and it's probably the most likely ability that can actually be pulled off in this scenario. Blizzard and Shadow Ball are going to be your strong attacks because you do have Blizzard, because the Spread Ice type move with the Snow Warning from the Mega Frostlass that it sets up is able to do a ton of damage. You have the Shadow Ball as well for the Ghost coverage. Aurora Veil, which makes the rest of your team bulky because you have a few ways that you could play out of just like going for the offensive Tailwind mode. You also do have the Aurora Veil setup that you can do to take attacks better and be able to set up like your King Gambit, for example. So it can be really nice for just taking attacks, stalling out turns of like Trick Room, Tailwind, and more, and then Protect to keep itself around. This EV spread is by Michael Kelsch, which does have a lot of speed on this Frostlass because it is able to outspeed the modest Eternal Flowheads as well as like the Adamant Garchomps, and then like a speed creep point because some Sneasers do run like 1 point slower. It also outspeeds your Sneasler, and then a lot of bulk here. You have a lot of bulk to be able to live stuff like the Kowtow Cleaves from King Gambit, especially with that snow defense boost, rock slides in general. Just be able to take attacks, especially with that Aurora Veil, and running a Modest Nature because it is able to still do a good amount of damage with its special attack. And yeah, this Frostlass here, able to chip some damage. This is going to be the recreation of the Frostlass that I'm going to be trying out on this team because I don't think you need a very fast offensive Frostlass on this team, especially with the rocks damage from the Kleavor. And I think the Aurora Veil mode can be really solid, especially for tanking attacks. Again, as I said before, from some of the slower, bulkier mons in this format. Next Pokemon we have is a standard Choice Scarf Basculegion. And this mon, I don't think there's much to say about it. It's absolutely broken. Adaptability increases the power of its same type attack bonuses to 2 times instead of 1.5. And Wave Crash, Last Respect, Aqua Jet, Flip Turn, standard damage outputs of a Scarf Basculegion. It's really hard hitting, especially that Last Respect that is boosting in power every single time one of your allies gets knocked out, which makes it incredible as a mon that could sweep in the late game. And then you have just a simple max attack and max speed Basculegion with the Jolly Nature in order to outspeed most things in the format, like the Mega Delphoxes, some of the Aerodactyls, Mega Gengar, and it is able to just outspeed those Pokemon, and you want to go for a speed tie against opposing Scarf Basculegion, which is pretty important. Next Pokemon we have is going to be the Coba Berry Whimsicott, which is a pretty interesting option. So we have Coba Berry, which is able to take the damage from super effective flying type moves and reduce it by half, which can be useful against like flying coverage from like dual wing beats from Aerodactyl, as well as like some attacks from Talonflame. So having the Copa Berry can be nice. The Copa Berry spread on this Whimsicott, as you can see, is going to be max HP and 14 defense. This allows you to live a dual wing beats from max attack Mega Aerodactyl. Well, max attack Jolly. I don't think you're facing Adamant really in this format. And then the speed is able to outspeed max speed Garchomp and Eternal Floette, and then the ones in special attack, because why not otherwise? But I think it is pretty good just be able to stick around, threaten the Encore. The Moonblast is going to be more chip damage since you're not having the Fairy Feather set. I don't think you're really needing the Whimsicott to do a ton of damage. You just kind of need to get some chip damage, stick around on the field for a while so you can get maybe multiple Tailwinds up, or of course that Encore pressure, which is really nice. And then, of course, just Moonblast for the strong damage output, and then Protect to keep itself around. Prankster just gives a +1 priority to the Encore and the Tailwind, which makes it pretty good at speed control and being disruptive. So next Pokemon we have is going to be the Black Glasses Swords Dance Kingambit, a set that has fallen off especially, but was very popular in the Gen 9 format. And the reason why Swords Dance Kingambit has fallen off is because Low Kick and Iron Head have just so much good utility in this format. However, Swords Dance Kingambit is still really scary, especially with the Black Glasses, even though it doesn't have access to Terra Dark. The fact that +2 Sucker Punch is still really scary to play around. So, especially with that Aurora Veil from the Sneasler, this Kingambit can set up a Swords Dance and be really scary with that priority especially. The Black Glasses also helps ensures the extra power to ensure the knockout onto Scarf Basket Legions with Sucker Punch, which is also pretty helpful. The Kowtow Cleave also strong dark coverage, which is really nice in general. And you want as much bulk from the Kingambit as possible, so you're going with just max HP, especially with the Aurora Veil. And I don't think you really need speed on Kingambit. Yeah, you could go for Tailwind Kowtow, but I think just having the general bulk is pretty nice for allowing Kingambit to set up Swords Dance safer, as well as like it can be useful for underspeeding for Rigraff and min speed Incineroar, or negative speed nature Incineroar for Rigraff, because sometimes in the trigger matchup you might want to go for a Kowtow Cleave before they can get an attack off. So can be very useful there in some trigger matchups, but also just like fast priority with the Sucker Punch is really powerful. Final Pokemon on this team is going to be the White Herb Unburdened Sneasler, and this Sneasler is also another spread by Michael Kelch. It's really strong because it does have a lot of bulk, as you can see here, but bulky Sneasler plus the Mega Frostlass is such a great combination. With Aurora Veil, you're taking so many attacks with the Sneasler, and you are able to survive a lot. You are able to survive, I think, Earthquake with the spread and potential wave crashes from the Basket Legion, which is very nice on the Sneasler's end. Able to dish out a ton of damage with the Adamant Nature and still a decent amount of attack points to get the jump point. And then the speed on this Sneasler just allows you to outspeed Adamant Garchomp, as well as modest Eternal Floette, and put on a lot of pressure there. You have a pretty standard set of close combats, Dire Claw, Fake Out, and Protect. Fake Out is very nice because it helps set up for the rest of the team, especially like a Swords Dance on the Kingambit. And then Dire Claw for the poison move, close combat, strong hit fighting type move, and then Protect to keep itself around. This Mon is really insane, especially next to Frostlass. Really powerful Mon. It's just really hard to stop because of its really excellent coverage in this format, and it's pretty fast too, especially after getting the Unburden boost. So how to use the team? Well, you have a few different modes with this team. You do have access to, of course, the Tailwind mode with the Whimsicott, which is pretty standard. You can go for Whimsicott, lead Tailwind immediately, and then have a lot of offense pressure with either the Basket Legion that can lead, threaten a lot of damage, maybe flip turn to pivot out of there. You have the Sneasler, which does have access to like really strong coverage options. But of course, Kleavor Whimsicott is such a great lead because similar to Glamour, you set up the hazards, you have a focus sash on Kleavor, so you're able to take attack, do some pretty decent damage with the Stone Axe or the close combat. And once those hazards are set up, you just keep beating down your opponent's team and then trying to brute force it basically. So that's the idea, where Whimsicott Kleavor is probably going to be one of your most common leads. Another common lead that you do have access to is the Kingambit and going for the Swords Dance, because set up Swords Dance Kingambit can work well against certain teams, and just being able to have that +2 Kingambit with that Sucker Punch priority can be a massive threat. So you can lead Kingambit with either your Sneasler, so you do have access to the Fake Out plus Swords Dance, which is pretty effective, Or you could obviously have Kingambit just Sucker Punch the Ghost type, but while the Sneasler is able to threaten other Pokemon with the Close Combat or Dire Claw, you do have access to as well as Frostlass plus Kingambit, which is also pretty solid because you can go for Aurora Veil, which is pretty great, and then set up the Swords Dance with Kingambit under that Aurora Veil, which acts with both screens. You also have other offensive plays that you can go for, of course. Sneasler plus Frostlass is also a really great lead because of the offensive pressure that these Pokemon have access to. The fighting, the poison, and the ice and ghost coverage is really fantastic. It's really hard to be able to switch into both of these Pokemon at the same time, and that can be really effective. You could also get Aurora Veil up with Frostlass with Fake Out Aurora Veil, and then the bulky Sneasler and the bulky Frostlass. Really hard to break through while doing a ton of damage with the coverage options that they have access to is incredible. And then of course Basket Legion can lead here with either Sneasler for fast damage output, or maybe lead with the Kingambit, of course, because Sucker Punch plus like a Wave Crash immediately or a Flip Turn can do some pretty impressive amounts of damage. If you'd like to check out the details of the team and the creator, they'll be linked in the description down below. But otherwise, let's get started and play some games and try out Kleavor. Alright, we have Whimsicott, Charizard, Garchomp, Basket Legion, Glamour, and Eternal Floette. Alright, this seems pretty good because there is a Chomp, or not Chomp, there is a Charizard, so we do have Kleavor. Kleavor, of course, is going to be really nice for the rocks against the Charizard, so we will be bringing the Kleavor. I think Kleavor plus Whimsicott is pretty good here. Yeah, I do like Kleavor plus the Whimsicott. I think Bask because Last Respect seems pretty tough for them to switch into. And then I'm thinking Frostlass is the last Pokemon, because it's just like fast offensive stuff. It's good into the Chomp. It's just really good offensively against my opponent's entire team. I don't really need Kingambit in this matchup because it's only for the Basket Legion. It's pretty weak into everything else. Ideally, I can get rid of the Bask quickly if it is Scarf. I assume it's probably maybe Mystic or Scarf depending on their team. It should be Sash, Glamora. The two Megas will be Charizard, Eternal Floette because it shouldn't be Mega Chomp or Mega Glim on this team. The Whimsicott, maybe Fairy Feather like the common sets, could be Citrus as well. Bask could be Bulky or Scarf. Chomp could be Scarf or like Bulky as well with Citrus as well. So it's really just figure about like the sets, but I do think that just getting the rocks up is going to be pretty difficult for my opponent because Stone Axe is going to do a ton of damage. So let's see what they decide to go here lead wise. If they bring Floette, they didn't bring Charizard, which is fine. Whim's got Glamora, okay. Versus Kleavor and the Whimsicott. So I'm gonna go for a Stone Axe and I'm gonna target down the Whimsicott, and I think I'm just gonna go for a Tailwind. They could protect Whimsicott, we could see Tailwind traded, we could see Moonblast plus the Power Gem into Kleavor. I don't want to attack in the Spiky Shield at all from the Glamora. I guess I could Encore it, but the thing is, I don't know if their Whimsicott's faster than mine. So like they could Encore me as well, which makes it a bit complicated because of the interactions. So I think my best idea is just to Encore the Whimsicott because I can always Encore the Whimsicott in to protect if they do go for a protect on the Whimsicott. So we do get the Tailwind set up. Tailwind on their side is going to be set up, which is fine. Okay. And Stone Axe does land. So that's huge. I'm able to get good damage to the Whimsicott. And Sludge Bomb comes onto my Whimsicott, which is fine. Okay, I actually really don't mind this. So we can go on a Frostlass now, and I actually, do I want to go Frostlass or do I want to go Bask first? The problem with Bask is I don't think Last Respect would KO the Glamora, so I think it's go Frostlass first. Do I want to lose my Sash potentially on the Kleavor? It should be fine. I'm going to go for Close Combat into the Glim, and I'm just going to go for a Blizzard here. I could go for Feint plus Blizzard, but I'm not 100% sure if that's right. Even if Spiky Shield could be a play, I think I'd rather just try to KO the Glim if I can. It's kind of an awkward spot just to deal with because I think as long as I'm put in a good spot against the Charizard, I should be good. But the question is who they have in the back is going to be really key. Like if they even brought Charizard, it could just be Eternal Flood. But we do have Last Respect on our Bass for it, so that shouldn't be too bad. I mean, it depends on what the partner is next to the Flood, if it's Flood and back. Okay, they do Spiky Shield. That's acceptable. All right. As we do go for Blizzard. I could have went for Feint there. I wanted to... I guess, like, Feint isn't too bad, but here's the thing. I'm a bit worried about how much Power Gem would do. I guess on the bright side, I could have went for Feint Blizzard, and that would have been in a really good spot, even if they Power Gem. I had Sash and the bulky Froslass, which probably lives one Power Gem from the Glim, but yeah, okay. Now what's happening? Is it going to be the Eternal Floette? I guess the question is, like, how fast is the Floette, but it could probably just be max speed. Dazzling Gleam is going to be concerning damage. Yeah, so I think maybe that might have been a call, and I probably should have went for the Feint. Oh, they go Bask immediately. Interesting. They take the rock damage, which is really nice for me. Are they going to flip turn? Can I Shadow Ball Protect? I think Shadow Ball Protect might be the play here. Because Last Respect, I don't think will KO this Froslass with non-boost. I'm going to Shadow Ball and Protect. Because if it's flip turn, they might try to flip turn the Kleavor. Let's see. No, it's Scarf. They go for Last Respect, but I do survive, yeah. Okay, so I mean, Bask is kind of priority number one, so getting rid of this Bask is definitely huge for me, which I will take. I'm sorry, it lived? Okay, maybe the play is not to use the spread. All right. This could still be fine depending on the back. They can't switch out Bask anymore. Last Respect doesn't KO Kleavor, so I guess I always get a Stone Axe into the Bask. That living after rocks damage, though, is crazy. That living after rocks damage is crazy. Alright, we're going to Protect and Stone Axe here. Like, even if they read this, it doesn't really change the game that much. Okay, they read it, but that's fine, because it's not like it changes much here. Did they double up the Kleavor slot? If they double up the Kleavor slot, that's fine. Because it's like the same thing if they just Power Gem the Kleavor. Okay, they kept the Kleavor around, which is interesting. Okay. Surprised they didn't Last Respect the Froslass if that's the case, but you know what? We'll take it. Blowout comes in. All right, I have a very simple play here, which is just protecting my Kleavor and going for a Blizzard. Getting this Blizzard damage, KOing, or just getting a bunch of chip to put these Pokemon into range of the Feint plus Wave Crash or Last Respect. So this should secure me to win. We'll find out, but I'm pretty sure that I do have the game locked as long as I do have Feint on deck. I guess if they go for a double protect now, but are you going to go for a double protect? I guess we'll find out. If they do go for a double protect, I do have access to... I would just have to call protects the following turn, I suppose. They protect Floette. Okay, that's fine. Did the Glim attack as well? As we protect a Kleavor. Okay, they didn't. So we break the Sash on the Glamora. They Power Gem or Dazzle Gleam. Okay, Dazzling Gleam is definitely not a move I was anticipating. Wonder what they dropped for Dazzling Gleam. Because they have Spiky Shield too. We go out into Basky Legion. Last Respect is the most powerful move I do have access to. We will go for Feint into the Floette slot just for the extra bit of damage and the Last Respect. So Last Respect at 150 base power plus this Feint should KO the Floette. And even if they attempt to go for a double, we break through the protect because of the feint. So we should be good here, I'd say. Feint. Might be bulky. I don't think it lives this. Yeah. Last Respect is just too insane from the Basket Legion. It's just absurd how much damage it does. They go for a Dazzle again, but this is fine. Last Respect is non-contact, so I don't even get stalled up by Spiky Shield. Last Respect is now at full 200 base power. Easily will KO the Glamora. And we are able to set up a nice offensive endgame here for the Basque, which is what I was hoping for. Still shocked that I didn't KO their Basque Legion. Also, if they went Floette immediately, it could have been tough, but maybe it was a decently bulky Floette. Pelipper, Archaladon, Basque Legion, Sneasler, Eternal Floette, and the Venusaur. Okay. Matchup-wise, this is a bit strange. I think Kleavor, unfortunately, is probably not getting me brought against this Rain team, which is not exactly great for it. So I think we're probably going... I think King Gambit's Basque is actually pretty okay here, or King Gambit plus Sneasler. It depends on if I think they're leading Arch or the Sneasler of their own. I think they would probably lead Arch, because I think Arch is pretty good against the Frostlass stuff. So I think it's probably Sneasler, King Gambit with Basque Legion Frostlass back. I like having King Gambit because Swords Dance King Gambit's really nice into the into Arch potentially. It can be good into Basque. It's great into Venusaur, and then the Floette is kind of concerning, but at least we had Dire Claw on the lead, which is not terrible. The problem with leading Basque plus King Gambit is they could go out into Pelipper and click Electroshot, and then I'd be down, I think. I'd be risking a lot of damage, so I don't think that's ever worth it. So we'll see. The Mega Venusaur is tough. The Mega Venusaur is tough, because it does have access to Earth Power. Okay, they lead Floette Basque Legion. So Sucker Punch does KO the Basque. And I think I'm okay with just going for Sucker Punch Dire Claw. I guess if they have Sneasler, they could go into Sneasler for the Basque Legion slot. But I don't think there's any real big way I want to punish that or can punish it. So I think I'd rather just attempt to Sucker Punch if they decide, hey, I'm going to leave in the Basque. Because Black Glasses, Sucker Punch will KO any form of Basque Legion. Some Scarf Basque Legions live Sucker Punch from King Gambit without the Black Glasses. But with Black Glasses, I ensure to KO into Basque. Unless it's some bulky item, but that means it's not Scarf. So I don't mind going for Sucker Punch Dire Claw. Also, no Venusaur is nice because I don't have to worry about like preserving my King Gambit to deal with it. We're gonna see Archaladon. Okay, that's fine. The Floette attacks here, that's acceptable. Or they just Mega Ball for the bulk and protect, which is cool as well. Because the Dire Claw will do a good amount of damage, and then let's see if they can even knock out either of my Pokemon. I think Moonblast is a roll into my Sneasler. They are Timid Light of Ruin. Okay. Do I live the Light of Ruin? No, unfortunate. Okay. I did not expect them to be Timid Light of Ruin. I thought Modest Light of Ruin would make sense, but Timid Light of Ruin, definitely not. So I could have went for Fake Out. Fake Out might have been better, but I don't think this is awful still. So do I want to go for a speed tie here is my question. I'm definitely thinking of, I could go Basque Legion. We can go for Last Respect trade here, or I could go Frostlass, which is guaranteed to live Last Respect. The only problem is it could be a, actually no, I think Frostlass is still better. Frostlass is still better. They go Basque, which is fine. The problem is I don't know if I'll knock out the Basque. I guess my play here could just be Shadow Ball Dire Claw, the Basque Legion slot. Yeah, I think I'm going to Shadow Ball Dire Claw the Basque Legion slot. I don't know if the Arch will click Protect against close combat. I do have a bulky Frostlass. They can't make the Pelipper switch in like Wave Crash because the snow would override it, so that's fine. If I lose Frostlass, it's not the biggest deal in the world. And I can't go down to last respect anyway at this range. Only thing that could be annoying is if they double up the Sneasler slot. And they do protect Arch, so I do get to play right, which is really good for me. Okay. They did last respect the Frostlass, but I do survive. Yep. I do survive one of those last respects, and I do get the double up KO here with Shadow Ball plus Dire Claw. So fantastic. Nice. Now it could come down to them getting a double protect. Could come down to them getting double protect. Pelipper in. I don't think it's ever worth risking or Basky Legion. And I can't knock out the Pelipper. So I think I just Shadow Ball and I think I just close combat. And ideally I KO the Arch Halidon this turn. Okay, no protects. It's not Scarf Pelipper, it looks like. So Shadow Ball, huge damage to Arch. And even with the defense boost, I should KO with close combat. Yep, perfect. So Arch goes down and it's Pelipper versus the world. And I don't think Pelipper's beating... It can beat one of my mons here, but it can't beat, I think, Bask plus the remainder. Wider back activates so we get the Unburden. And then they're going to go for Hurricane. Yeah. Do we live the Hurricane? We don't. Okay. Like, here's the thing. Even if the Arch got double protect, then I think I go for last respect Shadow Ball into the Arch. And I think that would also still KO afterward. With how much that Shadow Ball did, I actually be... Yeah, I'm pretty sure I would KO with last respect plus Shadow Ball. And then Pelipper, as long as it doesn't like Hurricane Confuse or something like that, I think I'm fine. So I'm pretty happy, even though like the turn one didn't work out because it's Timid Light of Ruin. It still worked out because I was able to get a good turn 2 read. Alright, we have Tyranitar, Garchomp, Eternal Floa, Basky Legion, King Gambit, and Sylveon. I almost said Sneasler for some reason. Okay. So... Eternal Floa, it's always going to be a Mega. I assume Tyranitar would be secondary Mega. I guess it could be Garchomp, but I don't think so. They have a pretty generally slow team with no speed control. Should be maybe Scarf Bask then, if that's the case. Alright. Unfortunately, this is not a Kleavor game, because I would have liked the Kleavor to have a good position, but I don't think it's that great into this team. Is this Frostlass Sneasler angle? It might be. I'm kind of okay with it. It's not a terrible lead. I could also just do King Gambit stuff. So you're not leading Garchomp into a team that features Frostlass, right? I don't think so. Maybe it's Sneasler King Gambit. I think Sneasler King Gambit's okay here. And then backwise, Basky Legion Frostlass. I could bring Whimsicott, but I don't think Whimsicott's really that great other than getting Tailwind up. But the thing is, I feel like all the offense that the 4 Pokemon I have initially is the best choice for damage output. Because I think I need the coverage, but we'll see. Gonna see Floette Sylveon, okay. The Sneasler's in a good spot. The King Gambit is not in a good spot. I don't know what I'm supposed to say to this. Alright, I could fake out, but Hyper Voice is going to do too much from either Pokemon. Yeah, this is a bit weird. I kind of want to go for a double attack to scout for like what they're clicking. I could also go for Dire Claw Sucker Punch here, which is also not a terrible play into one of these mons to take the knockout. I think I'm going to go for the Sylveon. Because I could see Eternal Floette protect and then they try to cheese me. Okay, they do go for protect with Floette. Did I get the call right? That'd be insane if I did. Okay, they just went for double protect. That's fine. I could have Swords Dance too, but like there's no reason to really Swords Dance in this position. Okay. Now, are they going to switch or are they going to play aggressive? I'm kind of okay with just going for a Dire Claw Sucker Punch into Floette. Because I do have really bulky Sneasler and Gambit, and I'm more worried about the Fairyora than I am the other mon. Okay, they do switch out the Floette into King Gambit. Good play on their part. Ah, I could have doubled up the Sylveon again. as they go for Hyper Voice. I should be fine taking it with both Pokemon. Yeah, I am. Okay. Not great, not the worst. Unironically, King Gambit is probably the biggest annoyance here. I guess the question is, do you have Iron Head or do you have Low Kick? Because I feel like on this team, you probably want Low Kick. The Floette, Bask in the back. If this is the case. I'm gonna scout for Protect. Oh, they switch out the Gambits into Floette. We're just gonna play another 50-50, I guess, with Sucker Punch plus Fang. I guess they die. I guess the Sylveon protected again. No, I got a Dire Claw. Shoot. Are they gonna do it again? Are they gonna do it again? Oh my goodness, it's just a call here. I do live Hyper Voice if I KO to Floette. The question is, do they Dazzle this time? Do they switch out to Sylveon this time in the King Gambit? Sylveon is actually the most annoying Pokemon to damage here, I think. I think I'm going to go for Dire Claw, and I think I'm going to go for Sucker Punch into the Sylveon. Okay, they stay in this time. They could also protect Hyper Voice, which is also fair. Because if they read that, they get the Fairy Aura still, which is not too bad for them. Let's see. Or they might be just going for Dazzling Gleam Hyper Voice and saying it's worth it to them. Okay. Did I get them on a read? I think I finally did. Okay, so I do get a Sucker Punch and Dire Claw into the Sylveon. Beautiful. Nice. Okay, we finally got them on a read. So we do get rid of the Sylveon, which was annoying for me to damage with Frostlass, which is huge. And now we can pressure KOs the next turn. I wonder if I go for Sucker Punch plus Close Combat into the King Gambit slot the next turn. I'm baiting it very much hard. If they go Basket Legion, I do have Sucker Punch. Yeah, they go King Gambit. I'm thinking they could be going to going out into the... You know what? I could see the switch from Flood into Bask. I'm going to Sucker Punch Close Combat the Bask. If I give it to Bask, it's also... Or if I give it to King Gambit, it's also really nice. Because if I give it to King Gambit, then I have my Basket Legion that's free to last respect everything, right? So I think it's kind of worth it still. Okay, they just stayed in, so Sucker Punch should put in range. Actually, I'm not max attack on the Sneasler. This could affect Calx really badly. Oh, wait. I was hoping I would do a little bit more with the Sucker Punch. I do KO the King Gambit still. Okay, so King Gambit goes down. If it's endgame Bask, I think I'm still fine. I guess the question is what the last Pokemon is. And who did they target as well? Because I don't think Dazzle should get the King Gambit at this range. It's close. Okay, they go for Moonblast into the Sneasler. So Sneasler goes down, but I think this is pretty alright here. Yeah. Was an awful start, but we kind of crawled our way back into a position. We can go out into Frostlass now and scout what the final Pokemon is. It was Tyran? Yeah, it is Basket Legion, so I can Sucker Punch it. Alright, we're going to confirm if it's Scarf Bask or not by double protecting. There's no reason not to double protect here. And then if it's not Scarf Bask, it will be kind of interesting how the remainder will be. Because I assume if it's not Scarf Bask, we can go for Kowtow Aurora Veil the next turn. Okay, it is Scarf Bask. Or not Scarf Bask. It is... Bulky Bask, okay. We do get a Protect off. As they go for Moonblast into King Gambit, sure. I'm assuming this is Aqua Jet here. We're gonna go for Aurora Veil to get the bulk. Then I'm gonna go for Kowtow into the Bask. I think this is Jet plus Moonblast. I think Kowtow is correct in the Bask, and I think getting the Aurora Veil up, so I'm just able to take the attacks. Because my King Gambit might live Moonblast after the Aurora Veil, which is nice. I don't know if I'll live after Aqua Jet. They could Aqua Jet double up here, but I feel like leaving the Frostlass alone means he would lose to me just clicking Shadow Ball twice in the Bask. So we'll see. So we'll Mega Evolve with Frostlass. We do get access to Aurora Veil here. They Aqua Jet to avoid the Sucker Punch. Yep. This is probably Dazzle, actually. So with this Aurora Veil, I probably live to Dazzle. Which is really good for me. Oh, they Light of Ruin. Okay, I definitely survived that. Yep. Okay. Good Aurora Veil. They take a lot of damage, and I'm able to get a Kowtow off into the Basket Legion. So it is Sash Basket Legion, which is fine. I live Aqua Jet with both Pokemon here easily. So now I can go for Blizzard, and I can go for Sucker Punch into the Floette slot. So I'm feeling pretty good because this Blizzard and the Sucker Punch should put me in a really good spot to win this game. Because assuming both my Pokemon survive, and I should always be able to survive, especially if Bass protects here, I should be able to get a Sucker Punch Blizzard off into the Floette and put it in range of... I don't think they ever Light a Rune again, but if they do Light a Rune, sure. But as long as I have 2 Pokemon around, I should be good because I do have Aqua Jet, Scarf, Bass to clean up in the end game. Yep, Floette's super low. They go for Dazzle. And Gambit lives. Okay, yeah, perfect. Okay, I win the game. Because I can just go for Scarf Aqua Jet into the Basque and Sucker Punch the Floette. I am low on Sucker Punch power points, but I don't think the Basque is getting 4 protects. That's basically my logic here, so I should be good here. Yeah, we go for Sucker Punch into Floette and Aqua Jet. And we should be good here. Like, if they crit the Dazzle was going to be a little bit annoying, but... yeah, thankfully we don't have to worry about that. As we Aqua Jet KO the Bass, which means they can't Aqua Jet my King Gambit, which means I get a Sucker Punch in response into Floette. Which, granted, I don't think Floette could knock out my Basket Legion with Aurora Veil, but yeah, we do get the KO into the Floette with Sucker Punch, and that would be a good game. So, not a great start, but you know what? Was able to finally get them after kind of reading a few habits and getting the calls actually right. All right, we have Charizard, Whimsicott, King Gambit, Basket Legion, the Garchomp, and the Glimmora. Pretty classic team. I think we're just gonna go with a simple Kleavor plus Whimsicott game plan, which should be pretty good. If we get the Stone Axe off, we bring out the Sneasler, and then we're gonna bring the Frostlass in the back. King Gambit is not really, I'd say, amazing into this matchup. Sucker Punch is still pretty strong in endgame scenarios, but I don't think it's necessary. Basque is good, but the thing is, I do want the Frostlass around for the Garchomp, because Garchomp's actually a little bit annoying for the team, especially with what I'm bringing. And then Basque is always susceptible to potential Sucker Punch from their King Gambit, which can be pretty annoying to deal with. So let's see if they even bring Charizard or not in this matchup. I could see the standard Whimsicott Glimmora lead. The question is, what are you exactly pairing it with? Which is a good question. I could also see something like Basque plus King Gambit lead as well. But it kind of depends on, do they think they can knock out the Kleavor? So we'll see. What is your lead here? It depends item on Basque. Whimsicott Glimmora, okay. Because I do lead Kleavor plus the Whimsicott. I think I just want to go for Tailwind. The question is, do I want Stone Axe here into Glim, or do I just want to target the Whims? I think I just go for Stone Axe into Glim, because I think Glim protecting is very unlikely here. So we go for Tailwind and we go for Stone Axe. Okay, we're going to trade Tailwinds, which is ideal, and we get to break a Sash on the Glim. And we don't really care about the T-Spikes going up because we have Sneasler to absorb the T-Spike. Okay, nice. We do hit the Stone Axe. Good damage into the Glim. Toxic Debris set up, but that's alright. Rocks go up. A Power Gem, which is cool. Alright. That's pretty nice here because now... I don't know if they're going to Moonblast a Kleavor or if they're going to go for an Encore and a Whims. I think my best play is just to protect my Kleavor and go out into Sneasler. Yeah, I like this play actually. It covers for Sludge Bomb, and then next turn I can go and Encore, but I can also go for Faint the next turn. This should be a good play. It covers Encore, covers Sludge Bomb. I get rid of the T-Spike. I'm able to protect the Kleavor here as they go for a Spiky Shield actually. Interesting. Oh, I'm assuming this is Encore then in the Whims. Yeah. Really nice. Okay. Faint Dire Claw is what I'm looking at here into the Whims. But I could also close combat the Glim. I actually like going onto my own Whimsicott here though. I like going onto my own Whimsicott, just close combating the Glimora. I don't mind a T-Spike that much. Sure, like that means Kleavor probably unlikely to switch in again, but I think having the Whims in would be pretty solid here. And having that one turn of Faint could actually be like really nice in some scenarios. I actually retreat to Whimsicott too, which is great for me. Into Basque. Okay, this is really, really good for me. Although a Stone Axe would have been better into Basque, but this is still pretty good. Okay. Bring out the Whimsicott. Oh, they double swapped. Oh, they did bring Charizard, but the King Gambit is getting sniped on the close combat, which is really good for me. Oh, that's great. That's great. That KO'd. Oh, that is a frail King Gambit? That's a frail King Gambit. It was faster. All right, we get rid of King Gambit. Beautiful. They do have a powered up Last Respect. We should live one Last Respect, I assume, with Sneasler and Whimsicott, so I should be okay here. Because I have very physically defensive Whimsicott. Okay, Glimora in. As the rocks are up on their side. I think I just go for close combat, right? Unless they're Tailwind. Like, Frostus is looking really, really solid. I guess I gotta watch out for the Bass, though, because the Bass could actually be kind of scary endgame-wise. I think I just go for a double protect this turn. There's no T-Spike up. Was it double protect to play? They don't switch. That makes sense to me. Okay. Okay, it's not Scarf Basque. Okay, that actually makes my life so much easier if it's not Scarf Basque. I go for Wave Crash into the Sneasler. Okay. If they're not Scarf Basque, this makes my life so much easier. So I can Encore, or I could go for... There's a lot I can do. I can see close combat. Encore seems really solid here. I think that's always the play, actually. I'm going to close combat, and I'm going to go for a Encore into the Bass. The reason I go for this play, even if they Spiky Shield, and even if they knock out, let's say, my Sneasler, then I can bring in Frostlass, and I can go for Encore Blizzard or Encore... Yeah, like, I feel like I'm in a good spot. They didn't get the Toxic Spikes up either, so Blizzard's pretty safe to cover for switches. Okay, Sneasler goes down, but that's fine. Because now I can just go Frostlass, and I think Frostlass just clicks Blizzard. I think I just go for Moonblast plus Blizzard into the Basque Legion slot. Yeah. I get a ton of damage. If they switch out one of the slots into Whims, it goes down to the Blizzard. And then they still take rocks damage. Yeah, I think this is set here. I could also Encore Shadow Ball, which is probably the misplay they're hoping for me to go for, because that gives them an opportunity, I think. The reason I think it gives them an opportunity is because then they could read that, maybe like hard swap into Whimsicott and then try to get Tailwind up, which is why, and get out this Encore loop block. But that's why I'm going for Blizzard Moonblast immediately, because I think it covers a lot of plays here. I don't think Wave Crash would even knock out my Frostlass because of the snow defense boost. So they give me Whims here, and that should be game, because Blizzard plus Moonblast will KO the Whimsicott guaranteed. And then against the non-Scarf Basket Legion, I just click Shadow Ball, right? So, because they don't have access to Tailwind anymore. Yep, so Moonblast gonna come out and Blizzard. Yeah, even if this is like Yachi, Whimsicott, it should be going down here. Yep, goodbye Whimsicott. And now last Pokemon is going to be the Basket Legion. We click Tailwind and we click Shadow Ball. There's no way to lose here. So, super nice. Those rocks came in really clutch from my Kleavor, and we were able to set up a nice position for Frostlass and Sneasler in a great spot. Even just getting the close combat off into the Gambit was so massive. Kind of surprised they didn't swap the other way, because they could have swapped out like into Basket Legion, I think, for the Glamora, and they could have swapped out into King Gambit on the other slot, which was the Whims, but we'll take it. Because now we go for Tailwind and Shadow Ball. And we cannot lose. We know it's not Scarf Bass, but there's not really a reason not to click Tailwind plus Shadow Ball here. There's like no play that they have that could win in the game. Even if this is like a Ghost Resist Berry, it's like, okay, it's Ghost Resist Berry. I still have a Whimsicott still around. So yeah, we do KO the Basque, and that is good game. So huge work put in through Sneasler, Kleavor, and Frostlass. What can I say? And also, I think saving the Whimsicott was also just really nice, because having the late game Tailwind was actually really good. All right, we have Frostlass, Hisuian Samurott, Garchomp, Sneasler, Sylveon, and the Farigiraf. Definitely an interesting team. Okay. I think lead-wise here... Oh, that Samurott could be a little bit concerning. That mon actually does a lot of damage to me. Lead-wise, I'm actually thinking Frostlass. I was debating about Frostlass King Gambit, because I like Frostlass to always pressure the Garchomp as well as it can pressure the Sneasler, while the King Gambit was kind of safe against their Frostlass and could pressure the Farigiraf. But I think my best case lead is probably Frostlass plus the Kleavor. Getting rocks up is nice, but also just trying to close combat Hisuian Samurott, because I think Hisuian Samurott is kind of hard for my team to handle, especially if I lead King Gambit Frostlass. Yeah, I'm threatened by Sacred Sword and the Ceaseless Edge or Night Slash or whatever dark move they have, so I don't think that's worth it. I think in the back, we definitely bring our bulky Sneasler and our King Gambit back. We just have to figure out a way to set up the Sword Stance with the King Gambit. We would have to get rid of Farigiraf in order to accomplish that, but I do think that's pretty doable, especially if we have a Sword Stance with King Gambit, we can blow up the Farigiraf. So let's see here. I would like the rocks damage if possible. We're gonna see Samurott Sneasler, which is cool by me. All right. Against Frostlass and Kleavor. Curious if there's Scarf or not. I can just go for a double protect here. They can't feint the Frostlass. The worst they could do is feint the Kleavor, I suppose. Let's see. We will go for a double protect. Samurott does get access, I guess, to Sucker Punch. They could go for Sucker Punch close combat the following turn, but we'll see if they have access to that. We do see Fake Out into Kleavor, and then Dark Move into Frostlass. Yes, he's the Edge into... Okay, Kleavor. I could have got a Aurora up, but that's fine. We're going to go for Aurora now. And we're going to get a close combat off, I guess, into the Samurott. Samurott's pretty frail. Did they run Chople on Samurott? I feel like that's not a set, but we'll see. This could be Scarf Samurott, though. Which would be concerning, actually. Okay, they just go for Detect, which is fine. Alright. Who's faster, Sneasler or... Okay, Sneasler. Not as good for me. Not as good for me. Okay, I do get Veil up, but this is not a great spot, I'd say, because they can get the spikes up. I kind of wish I went for Auroraville the turn prior and risked it, but yeah. They have Protect. I would have liked the Rocks up. It's not necessary to win though. I think I'm just going to go for Blizzard, and I'm going to still attempt to go for Close Combat. I guess I could go for Feint into Sneasler for extra damage. Because I can always go for Close Combat with my Sneasler in the end game. Maybe that's not too bad. There's no way you should ever target the Frostlass with your Sneasler. I'm going to go for Feint Blizzard. I get some decent damage off in the Sneasler. They went for Dire Claw. That makes sense. Goodbye, Kleavor. Alright, it's gonna be a spooky one, but both of the Gambit threats are the ones on the field right now. So here comes a Blizzard. Good damage. Ceaseless Edge. Well, the thing is, Ceaseless Edge, I've used it a lot of times, and I know how bad of a move it can be, so that's actually amazing for me. So we are able to get in our Sneasler, and now we can go for Blizzard. Close Combat is pretty safe. You might think why I don't go for Fake Out, but against Farigiraf, there's like no reason to ever go for that. So we're going to go for Close Combat, and we're going to go for Blizzard. They go for Protect. That's fine. I could have Protected and went for Close Combat into Sneasler, I guess, but that's fine. Because I don't think I'll need the Speed Boost. The Speed Boost doesn't really change much here. Yeah, like I could have been playing a way more scared game as a Ceaseless Edge hit. Granted, I don't think it was KOing with the Snow Defense Boost plus Auroraville, but it would have potentially been the Sucker Punch mind games. We do get rid of Sneasler though. I don't have to worry about Sucker Punch now, and I can still play aggressive with my Frostlass. So I can go for Blizzard Close Combat. Unless I think it's Scarf Chomp. Do I think it's Scarf Chomp? No, they go into Frostlass, so I can go for Shadow Ball. And with Auroraville up, I know I'll live. I guess I don't know if I'll live a Sucker Punch Shadow Ball, but I do have the Kingambit in the back to deal with the Frostlass, so that's okay. I'm going to go for Close Combat plus a Shadow Ball. Unless they have a tech move like Disable or something, I should be in a pretty good spot. Maybe Wisp, but I think Samurott would still go down to Close Combat because Samurott's not the bulkiest Pokemon out there. They do go for Sucker Punch. That's fine. As you can see, I take it pretty well. Shadow Ball. Does this KO? It does, but that's fine. Again, I have my Kingambit, which is still pretty good against the Frostlass. I'm not too worried about it. I guess if it's Garchomp back, though, that was definitely a mistake. Although I don't think it's too bad, even if it's Garchomp, because I do have a play against the Garchomp. I mean, I am going out into my Kingambit. The question is, are they going out into... It is Garchomp. Okay, so actually, that was a misplay. I should have went into Kingambit and went for Close Combat. That was a mistake on my end. But I will go for Swords Dance now, and I'm just going to go for Protect. This could be Protect Earthquake. They could go for Auroraville, which is fine. They might have Stomping. We'll find out if the Garchomp Scarf, because if the Garchomp Scarf, it outspeeds the Frostlass. But I'm just Swords Dancing here. So we get the boost and then Sucker Punch. Okay, they have Auroraville. Oh, they went for Stomping Tantrum and the Sneasler, so my Gambit is actually in a pretty comfortable spot. I guess I can stall out the Auroraville turns, which makes sense. Snow stops, that means Auroraville wore off on my side. They don't have access to accurate Blizzards, though, anymore. I'm just going to go for Close Combat plus a Kowtow into the Garchomp, which I think should KO the Garchomp, even through Auroraville. Let's see. Ooh, that Garchomp's bulky. Did they Self-Earthquake? They Shadow Ball. Okay, this KOs? Yeah, it does. This is Stomping Tantrum. We're going to take a lot. Okay, does Kowtow KO? This is a question. Black Glass is +2 Kowtow. It does KO the Garchomp. So we're playing a Sucker Punch mind game from the Frostlass. I do have 8 suckers available, but they also can go for failed Aurora Veil power points. Did they go for Aurora Veil immediately? No, they went for Blizzard immediately. Okay. I mean, Black Glass is Sucker Punch KO, so I'm gonna go for Sucker Punch. We know it's Blizzard, Shadow Ball, Aurora Veil, Protect. It's just gonna come down. Okay, they just go. Let me get the Sucker Punch off into Frostlass. All right, I will take it. I do think I did misplay that end game. I think I could have easily have gotten into a spot where I got King Gambit next to Frostlass for sure, which is definitely play. But yeah, I also did get a bit lucky at the beginning, but that Samurai was tough. All right, we have Pelipper, Basculegion, Archaludon, Garchomp, Dragonite, and Scizor. Now, this is gonna be a pretty tough game. This is gonna be a pretty tough game, I'd say. Because there's a rain mode, there's the Garchomp Dragonite mode, and the Scizor. Scizor is actually kind of annoying. So we got dual Mega here. We could be 3 Megas, or it could just be 1 Mega. It could be regular Dragonite or regular Scizor. I don't think it's Mega Garchomp on this team. I'll tell you that much. I don't believe in the Mega Garchomp on this team, but I think I go with Sneasel King Gambit. I think I have Frostlass in the back because Frostlass Blizzard is pretty good against Garchomp, the Dragonite, and of course puts on a lot of pressure against my opponent's team in general. So I think I could lead either Frostlass King Gambit or I lead Sneasel plus or not Sneasel. I would lead Frostlass King Gambit or Sneasel King Gambit. Frostlass King Gambit, Sneasel King Gambit. Those are my 2 leads that I'm leaning towards because Frostlass can shut down the weather and I do threaten Sucker Punch and Bass. I kind of like Sneasel a little bit more though. And I think back is Basculegion because Last Respect is pretty good against this kind of team if set up properly. I just like the idea of getting the Swords Dance up with the... I just like the idea of getting Swords Dance up immediately with my King Gambit, and I think Fake Out into Scizor is pretty valuable. Yeah, like a daily Pelipper plus Scizor, I don't think this is a bad lead for me at all because I can go for Swords Dance and Fake Out a slot. I guess the question is, do I want to Fake Out the Scizor or do I want to Fake Out the Pelipper? Both are pretty reasonable. Scizor could have close combat. They generally don't though. They've been dropping close combat for Bug Bite. I think I'm just gonna Fake Out the... Could be Sash on the Pelipper. It's just like a call here because I could see Arch switching in for one of the 2. More likely the Pelipper slot, but I'm gonna Fake Out Swords Dance. Let's see if this works or not. Okay, they stay in, which is good because Weather Ball does a lot of damage to King Gambit. I mean, so does Bug Bite, but I think they would Swords Dance here most likely for the start. So we see the Mega Scizor as we do Fake Out the Pelipper. I said that they have been dropping close combat. This is one of the rare close combat Scizors that I've ever encountered. Great. Okay. Granted, this is not the worst spot to ever have been, because I can go Bask and I can go for... I think I go Bask here and I click Last Respect. I'm debating about doubling up the Pelipper because getting rid of the Pelipper would be nice. I don't know if Scizor stays in or retreats. I think I'm going to double up the Pelipper slot and try to get rid of the Pelipper though, because I think Pelipper is kind of annoying. Okay, if they protect the Scizor and give me the Pelipper, that's amazing. Okay. Assuming this double up KOs, but I assume it does. Last Respect. Yeah, barely survives. Is a Citrus. Nope. Dire Claw KOs the Pelipper. Okay, beautiful. So I get rid of the Pelipper for free, which is really good for me. And now I threaten Last Respect close combat. If they bring out their Bass, we're playing a potential speed tie with adaptability. Archaludon comes in. Wait, Archaludon came in. Can't I just Last Respect close combat the Arch? It's quite a bit of mind games here, I suppose. I think I just go for close combat plus last respect into Arch. Because Arch is the biggest threat. Let's see. Unless they protect. They switch out to... There's no way you're going out into... They risk Bask. That's crazy to me. Okay, I do get the last respect off. I think last respect close combat should easily KO Arch. And now we're in an interesting spot. We're definitely in an interesting spot. Because I think it's going to just come down to the speed tie. Like, legitimately, I think it just comes down to the speed tie. If it's adaptability Scarf, Bask. Which is silly, but that is what is going to happen here. I guess I could go for Dire Claw into Bask as well. Dire Claw into Bask can be helpful here. I could also go for the switch out Bask and potentially get the Cursed Body onto Frostlass, which is also a play that I do have access to. Because then I have a 30% chance into a 50% chance, which is not awful. It does give me the highest odds of potentially winning. You know what? We're going to go for close combat into Scizor. We're going to go on to Frostlass. We're going to go for the sack to Frostlass to get the Cursed Body, because it's not like Frostlass is being the Scizor. They protect Scizor. Okay. As we close combat attempt, they're going to last respect the Bask. Yep. All right, we get a Cursed Body. Or not. We did not. So we're just playing the speed tie potentially, if it is adaptability. Okay. I'm gonna go for Dire Claw to give me higher odds into the Bass too, because I could get a sleep or a para. Both are beneficial here. And if it's Swift Swim, I can play for that as well. So I would need to play for that if it's Swift Swim. So yeah, we always go for Dire Claw plus last respect. If they protect Bask, we'll find out, but I don't think so. They go for a Bullet Punch into Bask. Okay. Let's see. Moment of Truth, Dire Claw. Into the Bask. Okay. We do get to sleep. Oh, we won the speed tie though, so yeah. I'm assuming it's a speed tie. We do get the KO on Bask, and that should be game, because now I can close combat last respect to the Scizor slot, and they can't do much. So another awful turn one, but you know what? Sometimes a good call can get you back into the game. Like, turn one was awful, but turn two was fantastic. Like, I don't know what to say. And then, of course, I think we gave ourselves the best odds to win the game there, especially with the, again, as I mentioned before, second to Frostlass for the Cursed Body, and if not, I could Dire Claw plus get the last respect statuses, so I think that was 100% worth it. They go for Bullet Punch, but it's just not doing anywhere near enough Bask. How much does this do to Scizor? 40? No, 50. Okay. And then last respect easily KOs the Scizor. So beautiful. All right. Got a few calls on Pelipper, Arch, which was huge. I still can't believe they risked their Basket Legion, but I guess like they either get the Electro Shot KO into Bask that way, so it wasn't a speed tie afterward, but still. All right, we have Eternal Flood, Charizard, Whimsicott, Basket Legion, Umbreon, and Glamora. Okay, the Umbreon is a bit strange here, but otherwise it looks like the general standard stuff that you would expect here. All right, what am I going here? Kleavor for sure with Whimsicott, I think is a must. And then in the back, I don't think it's Bask here, but Charizard Umbreon is definitely an interesting combo, just having the access to the sun, so it's probably Moonlight Umbreon for recovery as well as being a support mon, so I think it's pretty interesting here. I don't think I ever bring Bask in this, and did I bring Bask in this end game? It's nice in a Floa, but it's like kind of worse than everything else. I could also just drop Frostlass, because realistically, what am I using Frostlass here for? It could change the weather, but I could just last respect everything. I think I'm gonna do Bass Sneasler. Yeah, I like the more offensive pressure, especially with the Tailwind option. So we'll see if Umbreon's even brought, because I'm not expecting Umbreon to be brought. I don't know if it can stall out Tailwind turns itself, but we'll find out what my opponent decides to go here. Gonna be Whimsicott Glamora. Okay, it's a pretty standard combination. Not surprising as we lead Whimsicott plus Kleavor. I think we're just gonna go for a Stone Axe plus a Tailwind here. And that's pretty much the set play. I don't know what they're going to do afterward, but I do not mind this. Getting those rocks up are going to be nice. And the question is, who is going to be in the back from my opponent? But I want to break the Sash on Glim. Again, similar to, I think, one of the games we played earlier. We should be in a pretty good spot. Okay, my Whims is faster than their Whimsicott, which is interesting. Don't tell me this is Trick Room. Oh, it's Trick Room. Or they Moonblasted. Both are fair. I get a crit on the Glim. Oh, it's Trick Room. Okay. Oh, no, they just clicked Dazzle. Okay, never mind. We're good. We're good. Interesting. Alright, I just go on a Sneasler to get rid of the T-Spike, and I just click Encore into the Glim, so it's locked into Power Gem. Oh, no, actually, I click Encore into Glim. The reason I click Encore is, yeah, I could get the knockout in the Glim, but why not just keep Glim in while it's stuck going for Spiky Shield? Or Power Gem, because it's not really doing much damage here. So I think I Encore. It also covers if Whimsicott goes for Encore into my Whimsicott here to try and lock me in a Tailwind as I attempt to Moonblast and I fail to KO there. So I think this is still worth it. They go for Tailwind themselves, which is fine. As I get a Dire Claw KO into the Whimsicott. This might just come down to Bass speed ties, unfortunately. There's not much I can do about it though. Oh, they Power Gem the Sneasler. I either got random target or they Earth powered. Okay. Basculegion. Last Respect doesn't KO my Whimsicott here. Although realistically, this is not like an amazing spot to be in. Because we don't know if it's Scarf on the Basque or not. We're going to go for Moonblast Protect. But I don't really like my spot too much. Because I might lose to the Floette. Okay, it's not Scarf Basque. Okay, that makes life a bit easier. It's still called it next turn, I suppose. We do get rid of the Glim. And then this is Last Respect. Oh, okay. They Wave Crashed. That makes it much easier. So this is Floette coming out. They take rocks damage, so they're in guaranteed Dire Claw range, I'm pretty sure. Are you timid? Floette is going to be a good question, but we're going to Encore the Basque into Wave Crash, and we're going to Dire Claw. The Floette either protects... Actually, you can't really protect here, right? Because if you protect, then you get Encored by the Whims. Okay, but that's fine, too. Maybe they last respect the Whimsicott, which is fair. But if they last respect the Whimsicott, that's fine. Who do you Wave Crash? Because either target's fine. If you KO my Sneasler, that's okay. Because if you KO my Sneasler, I... Actually, no, it is better for you to... Yeah, okay. They take the KO on Sneasler with the Wave Crash. If they target a Whim, I guess it's fine as long as I don't get crit. Because I live the Wave Crash, then I can Tailwind Dire Claw the following turn. Or I could Encore lock the... Floette. Actually, is my best play to Tailwind, or is it to just Encore? I guess it's just to Encore, right? I feel like the play is just to always Encore the Floette. And last respect the Basque, because the Basque is locked into Wave Crash. They only have one more turn of Tailwind. No, this is always a play. Yeah, I always Encore the Floette. Because they have to go for a double protect and a Wave Crash crit into Whimsicott. And if they do that, that's fine because it's their last turn Tailwind. My Scarf Blast will outspeed them afterward. Yeah, like even if they fail to double protect, which was probably their best call there, like even then, I still outspeed the flow at the next turn and then Last Respect will KO them, so that's fine. They go for Wave Crash into Whimsicott, and as you can see, yeah, the Wave Crash is just not KOing, so beautiful. And then Last Respect to KO the Basket Legion. They weren't sure about how bulky my Sneasler was, so they went for Wave Crash to ensure the knockout, but that ends up working out really well for me because I was able to Encore them into Wave Crash, which was the less favorable move. So now, Tailwind petered out, I just spam attacks. Yeah, I can go for Last Respect Moonblast. So, beautiful. Beautiful. I was a little bit scared about the end game, but thankfully it wasn't Scarf Bass, which made it easier. All right, we have Tyranitar, Excadrill, Tinkaton, Rotom Heat for Rigraff and Greninja. Very cool team. Is it Mega Excadrill, Mega Greninja, Mega Tyranitar? Could be like potential 2 Megas. Very fascinating here. Okay. Where am I going? Because changing the weather would probably be nice. The Greninja is probably very, very scary to handle. All right. What am I leaning towards not bringing? Probably the King Gambit. The King Gambit doesn't do too much here. Whimsicott's nice. I'm worried about Faint Plays that my opponent has access to with Tinkaton. I'm thinking it's probably Kleavor plus Whimsicott. Man, this is tough. I don't know if I really like Frostlass in this game because I changed the weather, but I don't really do much to this team. Not having King Gambit is also stinks because if they go for Trick Room mode, it's a bit rough. But I think Bass Sneasler because it's like the best ways I hit the sand parts of the team. Yeah, this is a tricky matchup because I think it's just a hard call on who they decide to lead with on either the sand portion or they're going to lead the Trick Room stuff, which both are kind of rough. Okay, Greninja Rotom is actually really good for me. Okay. Versus Kleavor Whimsicott. I don't know if they're Scarf Rotom. I don't know if they're Water Shuriken on the Greninja. There's a bunch of calls here. They could also go Tinkaton if they have Tinkaton. I think my best play is probably just to protect Kleavor and go for a Tailwind. Is this Tinkaton? That makes sense. Mold Breaker Tinkaton makes sense here. Okay, they didn't bring the Tyranitar Excadrill mode, which is actually kind of interesting. Oh, they attacked with Greninja. I debated, it was like close combat or Stone Axe I was debating about as well, but they Ice Beamed my Whimsicott, which does this KO? I don't think it does. Oh, it does. All right. So KO's my Whimsicott. I guess Protean does make a big difference, but this is kind of still fine. Yeah, because I can go Sneasler and click Close Combat Stone Axe. Or I could go Basket Legion and click Last Respect. I think I go Sneasler first. And I think we're going to just click Stone Axe and Close Combat into Grin. They switch out to Furraft, that's what I'm expecting. Yep. Okay, so I was right on this. If I get rid of Farrig, that makes it easier for me to set up. Nice, okay, I got a Close Combat off. Good damage to Farrig. Stone Axe, gonna miss the KO, right? But that's fine, even if I do. I get the Rocks up, which is pretty huge. Nice. And they go for Gigaton Hammer into the Kleavor, which is fine. So Kleavor brought down the Sash, but granted, I think this is a pretty good turn. Because I've got in my Widerb active, I can now swap out into my Basket Legion. Leftovers for Rigraff, okay. Okay, that's an interesting one. We can Dire Claw the Farigiraf and we can swap out into Bass because they could have Feint on the Tinkaton, so I don't think I want to give them a free KO just yet. Just yet. And then we can threaten some flip turn damage to chip away the Tinkaton. Leftovers Farigiraf is definitely an interesting one here. But no Sand mode made life probably a lot easier for me because I think the Sand mode was probably the biggest mode I was fearful of. Farigiraf was still a concern, but granted, now that the Farigiraf is super low because I didn't fall for like, okay, let's say I fake out Tinkaton and then just Stone Axe the Greninja, I got the big damage into the Giraffe, which is huge. We go on to Basque. Yep, they went for the Feint, not surprising. And I get the Dire Claw off into the Farigiraf, so Farigiraf goes down. I can now go for my priority moves again. If they go Rotom, I click Flip Turn plus Dire Claw. If they go Greninja, do I click Close Combat Flip Turn still? I might. Greninja. Well, the rocks are up, so I don't have to worry about Sash. I can Flip Turn. I can Flip Turn to Tinkaton and Close Combat the Greninja. I think that's worth it. They protect, so that's fine. Because like Gigaton Hammer is not KOing my Sneasler, regardless. Like if I got the defense drop, maybe. I was also debating about Flip Turn to cover for Rotom switching, but then they're taking a lot of damage from rocks. We also know it's not Scarf Greninja, so it makes it easier to plan out. Because I think I'll go for Wave Crash in the end game. So now we bring out Kleavor. That has access to Feint, which is pretty good. They go for Gigaton, okay. Actually, is it my best play just to go for Hard Swap to Basque and Close Combat Greninja? I think it is. I'm wondering who's faster between Tinkaton and the Greninja, because that's actually going to be a really important factor, because that might determine like if I get a Feint off in the Greninja or not. I think Greninja should swap out the Rotom, but they are taking a lot of rocks damage on both Pokemon. All right, here comes Bass. It looks like they stayed in. Nice. Okay, Feint. I'm kind of surprised. I thought they were going to maybe try to go for a Feint into the Sneasler, but they gave me Greninja, so Greninja goes down. Crit doesn't matter. I think Aqua Jet. No, Aqua Jet isn't the play here. What's the play here? I'm trying to figure out like what gets me the win guaranteed here. Actually, it's just Close Combat Swap. It is Close Combat Swap. Because if I get the Close Combat damage, I can freely lock into Aqua Jet with Basque for the end game. Because the Rotom's in range of Aqua Jet afterward. If the Rotom protects here, then we know it's not Scarf, so I can just freely Wave Crash. Yeah, that should be acceptable. Bring out the Kleavor. Close Combat. Yeah, it's probably Scarf Rotom. That's Frail Rotom for sure. So Rotom goes down, and now I have Basque Legion for the end game, which is super solid. That's why I thought they were going to sack the Greninja. But I guess like even if they sacked Greninja, like, or sacked Rotom, I guess Rotom was going down to Close Combat. So then I had access to Close Combat still on the Greninja. I thought that's why they were going to go for Feint, because I was thinking maybe they go for Feint into like -1 Feint would KO my Sneasler. But Tinkaton ain't that strong as we saw. So I guess maybe that wasn't an option for my opponent either. All right, we have Gardevoir, Whimsicott, Charizard, Garchomp, Basque Legion, and Vivian. Very interesting. So rocks are pretty nice against this team, but could be a bit hard to set up here. Is this a Whimsicott angle? I'm actually debating about switching up the lead here. There's not a Glim that I have to worry about. I'm actually debating about leading Sneasler plus the Kleavor. I don't think they ever lead Garchomp into me. I guess they could, but we'll see. Last Respect is really good here. Do I just not bring the Frostlass because Last Respect is so broken into this? Or do I just bring Frostlass because Blizzard is just like super safe into the Garchomp angle? I think it's Whimsicott's Frostlass. Bask makes it so much easier. I think I'm going to bring Bask. It's just like having more pressure against the opposing Bask. If it's not Scarf, it's just like so ideal. So I'll go for it. Even though it could be risky because if they get into position with Vivian, Bask, it could be definitely a scary endgame. Let's see what my opponent decides to go here though. Yeah, this is definitely a tricky one, but definitely manageable. I also don't know if it's Trick Room Gardevoir. That's the only reason why I'm not leading Whimsicott plus Kleavor is because if they have a Trick Room angle, I want pressure into Gardevoir with Dire Claw. Vivian Whimsicott. Okay, this works out. Only one of these can be Sash. I'm just gonna fake out the Vivian and I'm gonna Stone Axe the Whimsicott, I think. I think this is pretty reasonable. Even if they double protect, we play Mind Games the next turn, which I think is fair. Okay, so we know both have protect, so it's not Scarf Viv. I could have also doubled out in a Whimsicott for Sneasler, and I did debate about going for that. Do they have Hurricane on this team? I guess is a good question. They could Tailwind Sleep Powder. There's a lot that they could do here. I think... I want the rocks up as quick as possible, but I don't think I can let Kleavor fall asleep. I think they're going to target down to Kleavor. I think I go for Dire Claw into the Whimsicott, and I Heart Swap into my own Whimsicott. This might not be the play, though. This could be Tailwind Sleep Powder, and I could have just got a Dire Claw off into the... Yeah, I should have Dire Clawed the Vivian. I don't think this is Hurricane, though. I think this is Sleep Powder. Oh, they did actually Hurricane. Do I live this? Probably not. Oh, that's not good. Okay. On the bright side, I can Encore the Whimsicott into potential Tailwind, but yeah, that's actually kind of rough. I think this is manageable, though, but I did get to play, unfortunately, horribly wrong. Alright. We're going to Encore the Whimsicott into the potential of the Tailwind, and we're going to go for a Stone Axe. Luckily, we do have... I guess we have Cobra Berry on our Whimsicott, so we should be fine even if they Hurricane. Oh, it's not Fairy Feather. Wait, that's really bad. They're going to Hurricane plus Moonblast. Well. Oh, wait, no, they did target the Whimsicott. Okay. That's not terrible for me. Okay, we still have outs. Thankfully. No confusion. We get a Stone Axe off. Okay. Bask can clean up this end game, though Bask is going to have to very much carry its weight here. Yeah, because we can go for Feint into the Vivian to get rid of it, and then we can Encore the Whimsicott here, which I don't think Moonblast can knock out either of my Pokemon. And I assume Mantler probably has some bulk, so probably doesn't have special attack investment to KO my Whimsicott, then I can Tailwind. Okay. Doable. The Vivian guarantee goes down here. The Whimsicott going to be locked into probably Moonblast. Unless they want to Encore my Kleavor, but I don't think that's likely. I guess they could protect Whimsicott, but I don't see why they would protect Whimsicott in this situation. Okay, here's a Feint. Goodbye, Vivian. It's doable. It's just super rough. Here's an Encore. They're locked into Moonblast now, so once Tailwind expires, they won't be able to get Tailwind back up. Moonblast into Whimsicott. Yeah, I thought I would live. Okay, good. That's exactly what I wanted. Gardevoir. Are they trick rooming? I guess we'll find out. I'm going to Stone Axe and I'm going to Protect. Because I'm willing to sack Kleavor to get a free switch into my Basculegion. If this is Trick Room Gardevoir, Stone Axe and a Feint could get rid of the Gardevoir potentially. But I think I would lose to Trick Room Bass. So we'll see. It's kind of a call here. I don't even know Moonblast could KO. Oh, they retreat the Whimsicott into Basque. Charizard. Okay. Wait, they can only Mega Evolve one. Okay, so it looks like Charizard's not Mega Evolving. So I guess like Bass can win it on itself because it can Last Respect endgame, I suppose. We'll take that. We protect Whimsicott. Hyper Voice, sure. I can win this. They brought Gardevoir and Charizard. And they Mega Evolve to Gardevoir. We'll take it. Because endgame is Basque. This is Basque food. And Whimsicott after rocks will go down. Like everything's in Last Respect range basically. And Charizard can't threaten the Basque here. Yeah, we go for Last Respect and Tailwind. I'm trying to think if they have a play. I'm thinking like they could do some Solar Beam line, but the thing is if they Solar Beam here, they have to take a turn to charge. It doesn't even knock out Basque, actually. They don't even knock out Basque with Solar Beam. That's how bad the line is here. Yeah, I think I'm fine. Because I just spam Tailwind I just spam Last Respect now. So goodbye Gardevoir, that's one. Interesting they brought both Megas here. So Guard eliminated, Charizard, gonna Heat Wave, that's fine. So Basque is full powered so I can KO the Whims very easily. Like, I'm trying to think, is there a way that they can win? Because Solar Beam, they have to take a turn to charge, so I don't see... Oh, they could have Sunny Day Whims. Okay. I think I have to Last Respect the Zard. I have to make sure the Zard doesn't get a... I feel like if I Last Respect a Whimsicott, they can Sunny Day, Solar Beam. I guess they could also protect Charizard and Energy Ball if they have it, but I think that's less likely. I think Sunny Day would make sense here. Who knows? Okay, they protect Whimsicott, so I'm pretty sure I just get a Last Respect KO and the Charizard and win the game. Because Basque is just such a broken Pokemon, man. Basque is just such a broken Pokemon. Goodbye, Charizard. That's Charizard gone. And yeah, it's a Whimsicott by itself. They were hoping to maybe get like a Heat Wave burn, or maybe they were hoping to charge a Solar Beam target, but yeah. I was just scared of Sunny Day Solar Beam on the off chance of Solar Power Zard for the KO, but we take it, somehow win, and we went on a nice win streak here with the team. Kleavor puts in work, I suppose. Kleavor puts in work. So how was the team? Well, we went on a crazy win streak. It was able to do a lot of work. Tailwind offense, of course, is always going to be incredible. And you did have some bulky elements to this team, which I did really appreciate. Maybe I went a bit too much bulk on the Frostlass. Maybe it could have done a bit more damage. However, I think the Feint option was cool from the Kleavor. The Stone Axe rocks damage, of course, really nice, especially again into Charizard, but also breaking potential Focus Ashes, which with the limited item pool is actually pretty impactful because there are a lot of Focus Ashes in this format. So it can be really nice there. We didn't really get to set up Swords Dance King Gambit too much, but of course it can be situational at times, and the team overall performed fantastically. If you'd like to check out the details of the team of this recreation, you can check it out with the rental code on your screen here, or the replica code right here, and you can check out the details of the team in the creator down below in the description. I mean, this team is really strong. It might have a few issues though, like I still think it can be very struggling into maybe like sand teams. I think sand is probably like the biggest threatening to this team because Excadrill is not great, and as well as like Torkoal Trick Room can be a bit annoying, but thankfully we didn't run into those. But I do think the team is fantastic, especially into a lot of the teams that are currently in the format right now. So make sure you try it out. Otherwise, subscribe to the channel for more VGC content as always.